good, the bad, and the odd. They're sorted.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We're your hosts, Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Okay, so this is our next foray into Hammer movies. We've done quite a few already. Now, this is Curse of the Werewolf, which is Hammer's first and I think only attempt at a werewolf movie. Obviously, they'd had success with like Dracula and Frankenstein, kind of following on from the Universal's taking them, and then The Mummy, and then Dr. Jekyll, which wasn't a Universal thing, but is like a general horror thing. But now they've turned their attention to werewolves, which I guess is closest in terms of Universal to the Wolfman series. Okay, so this was made in '61. And it says it's loosely based on the Werewolf of Paris by Guy Endor, but this one's all kind of set in Spain, where there's reasons for that. Mostly filmed at Spray Studios for the set stuff, because and the reason I think it's Spanish rather than Parisian is they had a lot of sets left over from a proposed Spanish Inquisition movie called The Rape of Sabina. Lovely. But the BBFC stopped that film in its infancy. They just said there's no way that we're passing that for anything. So they had all these sets. So they transplanted the original script from Paris to Spain. And they did some location shooting in Madrid. Though honestly, it doesn't look particularly Spanish, does it? The outside stuff, a bit, I suppose.
No. Well, some of the bits, especially the Goat Pen area.
The goat area. Yeah, okay. Now, this starred Oliver Reed, his first starring role. He had been in other films, and bizarrely, I'd seen him recently in a film with the actor who was the star of the last Hammer movie we watched, the Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, Paul Massey. Oliver Reed and Paul Massey I saw in the same film a comedy called The Rebel with Tony Hancock. They were both in that. So it's kind of interesting. I do see Oliver Reed in sort of films around this time, and he's pretty good, actually. And also this is famous for being the first werewolf movie to be done in colour. Yes. It was heavily cut when it first came out, but it's since been restored. I think we were watching the slightly cut version. It felt like there was some jarring edits in it. And Terence Fisher usually produces a fairly sleek kind of film. I should have mentioned this is directed by Terence Fisher, who's directed pretty much all the films we watched so far. Not all of them, but almost all of them we've done so far. So, man, that guy was a powerhouse, really. Written by someone called Anthony Hines, and not particularly anyone famous in terms of Hammer. Oliver Reed's the most famous. I mean, we get the secondary character played by Michael Ripper. Michael Ripper does appear in a lot of Hammer stuff. He was cast as what was called the Old Soak. Basically, he's an old drunk, isn't he? He pops up throughout. Okay, so what do you think of this movie?
It wasn't great.
Wasn't great. It was dull, wasn't it?
It doesn't seem to have a set story. It starts off with a weird narrator, sort of almost storybook feel. It's this beggar went to a town. When he went to the town, there was no one around, but the bells were tolling, but it wasn't Sunday. And it starts off like that. Then it just stops doing that after a while, and it basically just becomes, hey, a chain of people just had a really bad time. That's
really bad time.
That's
Everyone
the story.
Seems to be dickheads in Spain. That's kind of how it feels. It feels like everyone you see is a horrible human being with a few exceptions. And if they are nice human beings, they end up with horrible things happening to them. It's quite depressing, really. I know what you mean. It feels like what feels like setup seems to take up a third of the film. And it's filmed like setup too, so it's a bit odd. It feels like you're not really getting started. It does start with this beggar asking about this town, and honestly, this sequence takes way too long to get into it. The village people sort of say. The
gist of it is basically there's a marquis that is an insatiably cruel, And he when this beggar comes and asks him for money, because no one in the town has money, because the Marquis has taxed them all so that he can have a big wedding. Also, we see the Marquis like chucking chefs about on the wedding.
Oh yeah,
day.
beating chefs who've prepared these special meals because
Yeah.
his wife Blanche's or his new wife Blanche's a bit stuffed goose, and there's all this.
Yeah. Basically, he just sort of throws this beggar in prison, just sort of being there. So
He doesn't even say throw him in the cells. He just says
No.
look after my wife's pet, because he pays this guy to say I'll pay you to be my wife's pet, and gives him 10 whatever it is, not drachmas. What is it in Spain? Pesetas, yeah. And then they throw him in the cell and forget about him, but the jailer doesn't forget or feeds him. But they only ever seem to feed him meat. Did you notice he only ever got meat? He didn't get any veg at all. So all his teeth would have fallen out for a start. But anyway, he's in this cell for years and becomes more and more animalistic through the years. But the jailer's got a mute daughter who keeps feeding him. She grows up to be quite a beautiful woman. And
what's her name? Yvonne Romaine.
It
turns out was like married to like the guy who wrote all the music for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the lyricist for quite a few James Bonds.
Okay, how about that? Don Black is that?
Goldfinger and You Only Live Twice. Leslie Bricusse. I don't know.
Leslie Bricusse. She was married to Leslie Bricusse. Okay. So she's one day she has to go above stairs. The jailer everyone's forgot about this dude except this woman. She has to go upstairs for some reason, and by this time we get like more backstory, or side story or whatever, more plot where like the Marquis drove his wife to an early grave and all his friends left him because he's so rotten, and he's properly a rank old man, isn't he, with like scabs on his face.
There's a bit where he's just looking in the mirror.
It's real great. So, anyway, she has to go up and sort out his room, thinking he's not there. Then he grabs her. He gets a bit rapey. She bites him.
Yeah. Then he has her thrown in the same cell as the beggar, who proceeds to rape her and then die of a heart attack.
He just dies the next day. A lot of people die really quickly in this film for no obvious reason. The beggar died. She's in a right state. She rattles the cage. They say, you've learnt your lesson. You better be nicer to the Marquis. When she goes up to the Marquis, she stabs him to death. He deserves it. But it's quite bloody, right?
Then she runs away and somehow ends up like face down in like a pond when another guy finds her. Now this guy seems to be like the only good person in the show.
In the whole place.
Like,
Don
film.
Alfredo Toledo is his name.
Yeah.
And he's got this housekeeper called Teresa, who's also a very nice person, and they kind of nurse the girl. They realise she's pregnant. Then they start realising she may give birth on Christmas Day, which is a terrible, terrible,
it's an affront to God. So basically, a lot of the film and the werewolfism is basically God couldn't just let this kid have one win. Like, come on. You couldn't just...
Yeah, we should talk about the birth, right? Because we see the birth, and they show the baby's pretty cute, and they show the mother of the baby. She smiles and then dies. Just dies.
She literally sits up perfectly healthy. It's like, just drops back.
It is a proper Amdram death, isn't it? It's kind of like that. So it's like, oh my god. So anyway, there's a lot of talk about this is unlucky if it's born on Christmas Day, and it is born on Christmas Day. And then we get a really cool scene where it's being baptized, where they start to do the prayer, and the sky goes dark. The font actually boils, right? It starts vibrating, like there's something really wrong. But
credit to the priest, he still stuck his fingers in there to do like wipe the kids out.
And when they're nice to the baby and actually carry on with it, everything calms down again. So we're getting a sort of foretaste that if you're kind and if he's treated in a loving way, it's not quite as bad as it could be, right? That's kind of the thing about it. So he's kind of cursed. And then we find out there's a like a hunter town's guard called Pepe who hunts wolves if they attack. And Pepe takes the little boy hunting, and he shoots a squirrel.
Yeah.
And the little boy's upset, but he gets some of the blood on his mouth somehow, and it tastes good to him. And then weird things start happening, right?
Yeah. Basically, everyone thinks there's a wolf. It's quite clear it's the little kid.
Yeah.
Because his adoptive parents walk into his room and find him like shaking the window with fangs and like hairy arms. It's he's a werewolf. Well, we're just
it looks like Eddie Munster this bit. Yeah. It's got proper fangs.
The hunter just shoots a dog and says that it was the dog all along.
Well, they do find the dog attacking, don't they? They do find the dog.
He finds the dog like running around and shoots it.
Oh, okay. I thought he saw the dog attacking the sheep. My mistake. We get. There's a lot of fake stuff going on in this film that I also mentioned. Yeah. There's a bit where they bring out a pig's head in the Marquis face that does not look real at all.
It looks like one of those like giant, I think it's Rottweilers. You know, those really like broad-chested dogs.
It looks like
one of those.
Yeah. Something. It's very weird. And also we see a sheep slaughtered, and that doesn't look real either. Or a goat slaughtered, and that doesn't look real either, does it? It
looks like a plush.
Yeah, it's very weird. And then the little boy actually does look a bit like Oliver Reed as a young Oliver Reed, doesn't he? So it's not a bad match. And then we see the young Oliver Reed, who's kind of intense. The thing about Oliver Reed I found in this film is he looks a bit werewolfy anyway.
Yeah.
It kind of compliments him. And this takes ages to get to this point, I felt.
Yeah.
This film was an hour and a half, and it felt longer, didn't it, actually? It really quite did. He then goes and leaves his beloved mentor because he wants to find work, and he goes to a vineyard, giving a lot of work. He meets a mate called Jose, who's a lot of laughs.
Yeah. It's weirdly like Miles Jupp if you're into your...
Yeah, he really is a bit like Miles Jupp. I like a comedy, boisterous version of Miles Jupp. And then Leon, from afar, he notices the daughter of the guy that runs the vineyard, called Christina, who we don't see much interaction between them, but then it suddenly cuts to them being lovers. So it's been all secret. But she's betrothed to some wet behind the ears bloke, I don't know, toff. And he gets a bit depressed. So Jose decides to take him to this like
it's a brothel. It's a brothel. Like,
well, the dancer, yeah. The women are saying, "Come with me," and all this. You don't want to be with her and all that. He kind of. The full moon comes out and he's a bit shaking, and
he gets like spirited away by another woman, and she thinks he's going to have sex with her, and then he just fucking bites her neck. Yeah. And she says, "I'm not doing all that," and then he goes mental and kills her. He also kills Jose, which is a shame because he was quite a good character. So again, another fairly decent, just killed. There's not much morality play in this film at all in terms of it doesn't seem fair what happens to anyone. But so.
But after all this, we still haven't seen the werewolf at this point. We do see him look at his hands.
And they badly transform.
They are some of the worst effects. It looks like a waxwork has done his hands. Slowly painted black or something. The palms. It was really bad, wasn't it? It was bad. And he wakes up in his own bed back at his, what's his name? Don Collado's house. Not sure how he got there, and he's got blood on his hands, and he's like a bit hysterical. Oliver Reed is not bad in this. He gives a decent performance, but it's a fairly hysterical one, isn't it?
Yeah. And because, you would be if you just found out you were a werewolf.
Yeah, it's understandable. He's very intense, Oliver Reed. I think he did all right to this part. I think the film's a fail, but Oliver Reed's pretty good, actually. And then, what I'm saying, he realises what he is. He runs away. Also, we saw the old bloke who... we should have mentioned the bloke that was hunting the wolves decided for some reason to use a silver bullet.
Well, no, I think the idea was he'd ran out of bullets, so he had to melt down a crucifix to make a bullet.
Oh, is that what it is? And he keeps that bullet around his neck. That's a plot point that comes later. But we do see Leon as a werewolf, as a shadow, I should say, have a go at the bloke whose dog it was. So again, not really a reason to.
Nah.
Anyway, but no one actually mentions that murder again. Did you notice that never gets raised by anyone?
Well, I mean, wait, no, it wasn't even in the same night. I'm misremembering this film already.
Okay. He goes back to the vineyard and he realizes he's like he's in a cellar looking at the moon, getting all distraught. And Chris then he comes in. He said, "No, you gotta go." But he kind of falls into a sick state and he can't really talk.
Yeah.
Just sits with him. When he wakes up, he realizes he's been with her all night. So her presence stops him turning into a werewolf, which means he wants to be with her. He asks her to run away, but then the father gets in. The wet,
and then cops show up.
Yeah, and all sorts happens. Oh man, what is it? The last 15 or 10 minutes, he finally turns into a werewolf. We actually see. So we had to wait.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good. It's not good.
I kind of liked it. I thought it worked all right for me. I liked it.
It looked like something that would be on Mystery Science Theatre.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
I liked it. All right, I liked it. It was very reminiscent of the Wolfman sort of outfit, wasn't it? Really, it was kind of a bit like the one in the Werewolf for London. There was a touch of that too. And he's basically then it kind of turns into a torch wielding mob chasing him while he does Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of stuff.
Yeah, he like hops along rooftops and the villagers like chase him back and forth. Eventually he goes into a bell tower and his adoptive father pops up and shoots him.
With a silver bullet, it has to be added.
Yeah. And the last shot is his adoptive mother and his like lover, Craig, in the town square. And that's it.
He doesn't transform back into a human, interestingly. He stays as a werewolf instead, which is quite a bit of a... Usually they turn back, don't they, in Universal sort of movies.
Yeah.
Okay. One final mention. We actually see Desmond Llewellyn, who is Q from the James Bond film, turn up at one point as a footman. When the beggar first knocks at the Marquis's door, he says, "Go away, man," before he notices you. And suddenly he gets noticed and then goes to shit. Right? Not good. It looked okay. The print we have is a bit fuzzy because it was, it wasn't a good print. So that didn't help. But apparently there's a really good restoration. But some of the scenes there were some great shots. But mostly it felt mundane and a bit pedestrian and boring. Actually,
it was really boring.
Yeah,
it was kind of funny. It was so boring. There was a bit where I thought there was a good shot because I looked up from my phone and then like quickly glanced back, and I was like, wow, that was a good shot. We rewound it, and it absolutely was not the same shot. So
that you thought it was. Because I was saying I didn't see a good shot. Let's have a look. So I thought I'd missed it as well. It was not. It wasn't great for werewolves. There's lots of better werewolf films than this, for sure. And it was a bit dull. And I liked Oliver Reed. I quite like the makeup, but you weren't convincing, right? You weren't convinced by the makeup at all. I thought it was kind of fun. I always think of this one because there is a line in American Werewolf in London where one of his friends
says the Oliver Reed Wolfman.
Yeah, she said, "Did you ever see the Wolfman?" He goes, "The one with Oliver Reed." That kind of comes up. So Janet Agutter says that. Not great. Excuse me. I think this is the dullest we've seen. I can't remember any of the others being particularly dull, to be honest. I thought they were all pretty solid. The Mummy's a little slow, but not bad. But all the others I've enjoyed greatly. But this one was the first one where I thought, God, this is going on a bit. And I remember there being more werewolf stuff in it that wasn't there. So I'm thinking of another werewolf film, probably a Universal one. Not great. What would you give it? Any final thoughts before we score it?
No, like I don't have anything for this. It was just really boring.
It's interesting because when we were coming up to this and the one before, I actually thought Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll might not be great, but Curse of the Werewolf's probably going to be good, and it's in fact the other way round. The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll I enjoyed greatly, and this I just felt it was a bit flat and dull. Actually, I think I remember why I don't watch this one very often out of Hammer sort of movies is because it's dull. It's not great. So there is that. Okay, all right. What would you give it out of 10?
Ooh, I'd give this an easy 4.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 too. Not a great movie. Next time we talk about Hammer, though, we've got Phantom of the Opera to talk about, so that may be a step up. Who knows? At least it'll be colourful and musical, right? We could also compare it a bit to the one we actually covered way back, the Gerard Butler one. We can sort of talk about it in those terms, perhaps, as well. There's lots of Phantom of the Opera films, so but I've only seen a few, and I haven't seen this one in about 40 years, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it again. So we'll see, right? All right, then, let's wind up there. So bye from me.
Bye.